Hello guys, this is Sachin from Six Phrase, and this is a series that we are just starting for advanced algorithms. And today it is going to be the introduction of what we are going to cover in this entire training program, and as well as this entire advanced algorithms series. And also we will be seeing introduction to backtracking, the very first algorithm paradigm that we will be looking into in the series. Okay guys, so straight away we will just enter into the session of today's. So we are going to start with algorithms. We are going to start with algorithms. Okay, so coming to algorithms, what are the things that we are going to cover? Before seeing what we are going to cover, let me be very clear that what is going to be the prerequisite. Okay, so if you are familiar, or if you are very if you're at least good, okay, with the topics that I'm going to mention now, then one day you will be able to take up this entire series forward. Okay, so the very first prerequisite, okay, first of all we will just see about prerequisite. The very first prerequisite that we have is recursion. Recursion is the very first uh, prerequisite for learning starting algorithms, because majority of the algorithms are following the existing documentation of many problems still exist in recursion, because recursion gives you a very simple code actually. So, or otherwise, if you are not using recursion, definitely you will end up with a complex coding. That is, your code complexity will be very high. Either you will end up definitely with a very large with more number of lines. Okay, fine. So recursion is very important here when you're coming to algorithms. Second one, along with recursion, you should be also good with recurrence relation. You have to be good at solving recurrence relation, because once we enter into algorithm paradigms, it's more of time complexity, more of space complexity, because when you start writing algorithms, then you need to ensure that you know what efficient solution, efficient algorithm that you are going to provide. So there will be a lot of analysis. So this cannot be called as advanced algorithm series. This can be called as an advanced analysis, sorry, advanced algorithm along with analysis of algorithm. Okay, so you should be very good at recursion and as well as a recurrence relation in order to do analysis for both time complexity and space complexity. Okay, so coming to this recurrence relation, already we have extended videos for that recurrence relation in the advanced C programming section. So if you want, if any person who want to refresh recursion or refresh recurrence relation, then you can just feel free to go back to advanced C programming and see only those sections, and then you can again come back here to the algorithm series. Okay, so recursion and recurrence relation, that is for time complexity and space complexity, is going to be a very important prerequisite that you want to learn. And here and there you will require few data structures also required here inside algorithms, that we are going to see in this series itself. So I am not adding it in the prerequisite, because if any data structure, unknown data structure is coming in other than arrays, matrices, so other than those data structure, if any other data structures like linked list or tree or graph is coming in, then we will definitely will take time to learn those data structures, and then we will move forward. Okay, fine. So these are the two important prerequisites that I am going to put forward for this particular series. I'm not telling generally, if you want to learn algorithm, these two are the prerequisite. But especially the series that I'm going to handle, these two things are going to be the exact prerequisite. Okay, fine. Then coming into the syllabus of the present series that we are going to continue, we will be starting with backtracking. We will be starting with the main algorithm paradigm called as backtracking, and the second paradigm is going to be branch and bound. So backtracking and branch and bound is having many things in common. There is a small slight difference between backtracking and branch and bound, which we will cover in the series. Okay, Then after finishing these two things, we will be entering into greedy techniques. Okay, we will be getting into greedy technique, and for every algorithm paradigm we are going to see as many as problems that is required. First of all, the existing problems that we are going to see, and I have planned of taking Codeforces into this. So we are going to take few problems from Codeforces, a standard comparative coding problems from Codeforces, and we are also going to discuss that also in this series, entire series. Okay, so probably once we are starting this algorithm series, you can either take up HackerRank or CodeChef or Codeforces or HackerEarth. So you can go there and you can take, if there is a filter option there available for this algorithm section. So if we are looking into backtracking, then go there, only take backtracking problems and start solving unknown problems, okay, which will give you the idea. So I am not going to take a problem, I'm not going to take problems of backtracking, I'm going to take how to start with backtracking. Whenever a problem is given, how to find whether backtracking has to be in place, okay. And also we will add a lot of problems also in, but it is not going to be entirely problem oriented section. Also we will be seeing for which kind of problem we will apply backtracking, for which kind of problem we will apply greedy, for what purpose we are getting into dynamic programming. Okay, so then each and every algorithm we will see which kind of problems we have to apply these strategies. Okay, fine. That is going to be one important part of the entire series that we are going to start. Okay, fine. Then after finishing greedy technique, then once straight away we will be entering into dynamic programming. We'll be entering into dynamic programming from scratch, each and every algorithm from scratch. Okay, so the next one is going to be like pattern matching. The next one is going to be like pattern matching in the sense string matching. Okay, like we have KMP algorithm, like Knuth-Morris algorithm for string matching, and many more algorithms are there in pattern matching, which we will be concentrating. Okay, fine. Then comes the last one that we are going to cover, which is going to be divide and conquer. Probably we can have a divide and conquer like before greedy technique we can place it actually. Okay, so that we will just dynamically we will replace the algorithm paradigms here and there. Okay, but these are all the topics that we are going to cover in this entire series. If required, some additional concepts also will be added based on the suggestions of the students. Okay, you can just send us your feedbacks and your suggestions of adding any more topics under algorithms, not other topics under algorithms. If you want me to add certain algorithm paradigm that you are familiar with, then you can also post me with that. So based on the requirement of the student or based on the requirement of placement, so that I can just add up those topics also. Okay, fine. So now we will just start up with backtracking. Okay, so I think I have given you the clear idea of what are the things that is going to we are start with. So the first session is going to be on backtracking. Today we will be seeing introduction to backtracking. Okay, only the introduction to backtracking. In the next lectures we will be starting with problems. Many problems we are going to solve out of backtracking. Every day only one problem, because it is going to be extensive session. One problem will at least will go for at least 1 hour to 1.5 hours. Okay, so every day we are going to concentrate on one problem, complete analysis of the problem, implementation of the problem, the manual concept of the problem, everything in and out of a problem will be discussed out. Okay, fine guys. So coming to backtracking, what is backtracking strategy? Why do we require backtracking strategy? Backtracking is a I'm not just having a PowerPoint to display all this definition, because the reason why I'm typing it is so that you can just follow me, you can just read out with me. Okay, so that is the reason why I'm just typing. So backtracking is a brute force approach. Actually, it is a brute force approach. I'll just come to the point. What is brute force approach? It is a brute force approach that is used to find or used to solve 3 types of problem. There are 3 types of problem for which backtracking strategies can be used. We will come to the types of problem, but before that let me define what is brute force approach. Brute force approach means you have to go for all the possibilities. For example, you take a problem. This problem can have, there are multiple solutions will be available. Okay, there are n number of solutions will be available. Working with all the possibilities is what called as brute force. We can go for example later. In 1 or 2 minutes I will be posing you with the example of what is exactly we are talking about brute force. But brute force means taking up all the possibilities of a problem, considering all the possibilities of a problem. Okay, fine. So now we will just enter into the three types of problem that we are having. Okay, the first type of problem that we are having is decision problem. We have decision problem. The next one, 1.2, the next one is optimization problem. The next third thing is enumeration problem. Okay, enumeration problem. So first of all, you should be familiar with what is actually decision problem, what is actually optimization problem. Okay, all these things that you should be familiar with. Okay, decision okay. Okay, so it's a decision problem, optimization problem, and enumeration problem. For example, backtracking means a problem which has multiple solutions. For that purpose only we will be entering into backtracking. So if there is a multiple solutions are available, then we will be searching for a feasible solution. Coming to decision problem, okay, in this we search for a feasible problem. Okay, fine. Then coming to optimization problem, what we do here, we search for a not a feasible solution. So it's not a problem, it is solution. Okay, so here in decision problem we search for a feasible solution. Here in optimization we does not search for a feasible solution. Here we search for a best solution. So if multiple solutions are available, then we are going to search for a best solution. That is what optimization problem is all about. Then coming to enumeration problem, here we find all the feasible solution. Okay, that is, if n number of solution is available, we will be finding all the possible solution. So we find all feasible solution. Okay, we find all feasible solution, right? Fine. Then we will take up an example to represent what is exactly backtracking is all about, and for which kind of scenario you require backtrack. But generally what we have seen so far is backtracking is a algorithm paradigm which follows brute force approach. Okay, brute force means looking into all the possibilities of solutions. Okay, fine. So that is this particular backtracking is used in three types of problems. Whereas the first problem is decision problem, the next problem is optimization problem, and the next one is enumeration problem. So coming to decision problem, if multiple solutions are available, we will be going for some random feasible solution. Feasible means it is like it works out. Feasible solution, what you can say is that, for example, which fits for all constraints given. Okay, when multiple solutions are available, the one right solution, any one right solution can be taken into account for decision. Optimization problem, when multiple solutions are available, you have to take up only one best solution. Coming to enumeration, if multiple solutions are available, multiple correct solutions are available, then take all the feasible solution, find all the feasible solution. Okay, so that is what enumeration problem. Okay, so we can take up one example for to make you understand better. So for example, what we are going to take is there are three persons. Okay, there are three persons, like for example, you have boy 1, you have boy 2, and you have girl 1. There are three persons available, and also three chairs are also available. So and three chairs. What we have to do is that we want to arrange the three persons in three chairs. We have to arrange three persons in three chairs. Okay, so to find, because there are many possibilities are there, three chairs are there, chair 1, chair 2, chair 3 is there. Either boy 1 can sit in chair 1, or he could have sat in chair 2, or he could have also picked chair 3 to sit. So there are many possibilities of solutions available. Now what we are going to do, what is the step that we are going to take for solving it in backtracking? Okay, so this problem will come under enumeration problem. This will come under enumeration problem because you are going to arrange three persons and three chairs, and you are going to find all the possibilities. So this is going to be a enumeration problem because we want to find all the possibilities of placing three persons in three chairs. So this problem is going to be enumeration problem. We will also see few examples for optimization problem, and also we will see few examples for decision problem. See, this might be a very easy example, but if you want to start with backtracking, then you should know that there are three types of problem available, and you are going to solve, you are going to apply this backtracking for these three kinds of solution. So these three kinds of problem, without knowing that, then you cannot understand for which kind of problems you can apply backtracking. Okay, fine. So what we are going to do first of all is the first step that we will do is we will represent all the possible solutions. Okay, we represent all the possible solution in a tree. Okay, in a tree called as solution tree. We will speak about the solution tree. It is also having one more name called as state space tree. So what we are going to do is all the possible solution, we are going to represent it like a tree structure, and that tree structure is what called a solution tree, or otherwise it is also called as state space tree. And remember guys, this state space tree is not only very important for backtracking, it is important for any algorithm paradigm. Like for example, this state space tree is very important for backtracking, for divide and conquer, and for also for dynamic programming. With this state space tree, with this solution tree only, we will be identifying either to go with backtracking, or either to go with like divide and conquer, or either to go with dynamic programming. So this state space tree is going to be responsible for selecting for a problem. You take up a problem, you're going to represent the solution tree or state space tree of that particular problem. Then using this state space tree, you're going to identify which algorithm paradigm you are going to use to solve this problem. So this is going to be a very important thing. State space tree is going to be a very important one. Okay, fine. So I will give you, for example, we have taken up this problem, enumeration problem, like three persons in three chairs, right? So I will take up this problem and I will represent the solution tree now. Okay, solution tree is similar to like recursion tree that you have to. For a recursion problem, you represent a tree, right? So it's similar to the same thing. Okay, but we are going to add a few things here in the solution tree. Okay, so we are going to take a very that for this particular problem we are going to draw a state space tree. Okay, so let us first of all go to 1 minute guys. Yeah, okay, so we'll just start with the state space tree. Okay, first of all what I will do is I'll just take up the main node. Okay, this is just simply main node, that's it. Okay, fine. Now what we are going to do is that okay, what I'm going to do is that I'm taking three chairs. Okay, chair 1, okay, chair 2, and chair 3. So we have taken three chairs here. So chair 1, chair 2, chair 3. Okay, so in chair 1 what this is not chair 1, chair 2, chair 3, this is chair 1. But in chair 1 we are having three possibilities. Either you can place boy 1. 1 minute guys. Okay, either you can use boy 1, either you can place boy 2, or otherwise you can also use boy 3 in the first chair. So these three circles are used to represent first chair. So in the first chair, either you can place boy 1, or you can place boy 2, or otherwise you can use boy 3. Okay, you can just place boy 3. 1 minute please. You can just simply place boy 3. Okay, fine. Now we are going to go for second chair. Suppose if boy 1 is sitting in the first chair, then there are two other chairs available, that is chair 1, that is this is also chair 2, because chair 2 will be having 1 minute guys, chair 2 will be having two possibilities. Remember, in chair 1 either boy 1 can be placed, or boy 2 can be placed, or boy 3 can be placed. Now if in chair 1 boy 1 is sitting, there are two other chairs available. One is second chair, third chair will be coming up, but this is both this are chair 2. Chair 2 will be having two possibilities, because in chair 1 already boy 1 is sitting. Now in chair 2 either boy 2 can be there or girl 1 can be sitting, if boy 1 is sitting in the first chair. If boy 1 is sitting in the first chair, then boy 2 can sit in the second chair. Okay, or otherwise girl 1 can be sitting in the second chair. Now again what I'm going to do is, if in first chair boy 1 is sitting, if in second chair boy 2 is sitting, in third chair who will be sitting? Girl 1 will be sitting. Okay, so girl 1. Similarly, first chair boy 1, second chair girl 1, so third chair who will be sitting? Boy 2 have to be sitting, he is the remaining person. Similarly, I will be doing this for this node also. Let me write for this node also. Okay, for example, okay, let me just take this nodes actually little bit left towards the left side. Just doing this to make spaces. Okay, okay, so now come here for the first chair. If boy 2 is sitting in the first chair, then in the second chair you have two possibilities. 1 minute. In the second chair you will be having two possibilities. Either in the second chair boy 1 will be sitting or girl 1 will be sitting. Okay, so boy 2 is in the first chair, then boy 1 can be there on the second chair, or either girl 1. We are going for all the possibilities. First chair boy 2, second chair either boy 1 or girl 1. Suppose in second chair boy 1 is sitting, who will be on the third chair? On the third chair you will be having girl 1. First chair boy 2, if girl 1 is sitting on the second chair, who will be on the third chair? Boy 1 will be sitting, so B1. Then coming up to the last one, if first chair boy, sorry, not boy 3, it is girl 1. If in the third chair girl 1 is sitting, then who can be there on the second chair? Either boy 1 or either boy 2 can be sitting here. Okay, so either boy 1 or otherwise boy 2 will be sitting. Now if girl 1 is on the first chair and boy 1 is on the second chair, who will be on the third chair? The third chair who have to be there? Boy 2 have to be there. Similarly, if boy 2 is on the second chair, who will be on the third chair? Girl 1 is already on the first chair, boy 2 on the second chair, so third chair only boy 1 is remaining, so boy 1 will be on the third chair. So if you see here, all the possibilities that we have already done here, so let me just zoom it out. Okay, fine. So all the possibilities that we have written. So what is the possibility? First chair boy 1, second chair boy 2, third chair girl 1. One possibility. First chair boy 1, second chair girl 1, third chair boy 2. Second possibility. First chair boy 2, second chair boy 1, third chair girl 1 is next possibility. First chair boy 2, second chair girl 1, third chair boy 1 is the next possibility. First chair girl 1, second chair boy 1, third chair boy 2, next possibility. First chair girl 1, second chair boy 2, third chair boy 1 is the next possibility. So totally how many possibilities we are having? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 feasible solutions available for this particular problem. So this is what we are meaning by state space tree. Representing all the solutions of a problem in a tree is what called a state space tree. This is what we are referring to as state space tree. Okay, fine. So now what we are going to do is we are just going to add one more point to this. Okay, we are just going to add one more point. There is something called as bounding function. There is something called as bounding function. So what we have done is we have written solution tree or state space tree actually. 1 minute. But now we will have one more thing called as bounding function. What is this bounding function? When will we require bounding function? We require this bounding function if there is any constraint to the problem. Still there is no constraint. What is the question? 3 person, you have to fix it in a 3 chair. So it's a direct problem, so you have represented a solution tree for that problem. That's a state space tree for that problem. But here comes a constraint. What is a constraint? You're going to place some rule. What rule we are going to place? We are adding a constraint that the constraint is G1, that is girl 1, should not be placed in the middle chair. So girl 1 should not be placed in the middle chair, that is chair 2, the girl should not sit. This is the constraint that we are giving. So when we are adding up the constraint, so what is the constraint that we are adding? We are adding the constraint is, okay, the constraint is G1, girl 1 should not be placed in the middle chair. She should not be placed in the middle chair. So this is a constraint. For this constraint, what we are going to write is we are going to write a bounding function. We are going to write a bounding function. Okay, I'll just tell you what is the bounding function here. So we have the state space tree for all the combination, but there is a constraint available. So what we are going to do is, I think this is the first node, first depth, that is the first height, and this is height 2, and this is height 3, which means B1, B2, G1. This first one is chair 1. This is going to be chair 2 and this is going to be chair 3. Okay, so now what we will do is boy 1. Okay, this is constraint is perfect, so boy 1 can be placed in any places, any chairs, so this is fine. Coming to B2, this is the middle chair, right? In the middle chair what we are having, boy 2, so boy 2 can sit in the middle chair, no issues. Girl 1 is sitting in the third chair, no, there's no constraint breaking is happening. Now first chair boy 1, second chair girl 1. Here comes the problem. So what happens is when you are coming here to the constraint is middle chair should not have girl 1, but here the middle chair is having girl 1. So what you have to do is you have to write a bounding function to kill this call. So if such a scenario is occurring, this further call should not be made. So this boy 2 call should have not been made. So when you come here to girl 1, what you should have done? You should have killed the call. That is, you should have completely taken this out. Connection you are breaking. So this call is completely broken out. Okay, this call is completely killed using the bounding function. So you write a function which is having the condition. Okay, either to go with this branch or you can just ignore the branch. You're going to write a simple function for that. We are not getting very detailed about the implementation part. Implementation part we will come, but I am just explaining you what for bounding function is required. Whenever a constraint is put forward to you, then you have to write a bounding function. That is a separate function that you have to write in order to check whether all the constraints are maintained properly. If it is not maintained properly, then you have to kill it. So this complete branch is killed. Okay, let us come to the next possibility. Boy 2, boy 1, girl 1. Yes, perfectly fine. Boy 2, girl 1, boy 1. Here also the middle chair girl 1 is sitting. So which means I have to kill this function. Okay. So here coming to the third possibility. Girl 1, boy 1, B2. No constraint is being broken. Girl 1, boy 2, boy 1. Here also the constraint is not broken. So now I think we can just probably delete this out. Okay, we'll just delete this. We will also delete this also. Now this is a new state space tree that we have with the help of bounding function. So this is the state space tree with bounding function. The previous state space tree was without bounding function. So first of all, what you have to do, even constraint is provided, first of all you have to write a state space tree without bounding function. Then what you have to do, then you have to introduce the constraint, then you have to one by one you have to introduce a bounding function. Finally you have a state space tree, and this state space tree, what you are having, boy1 boy2 girl 1, boy2 boy1 girl 1, girl1 boy1 boy2, girl1 boy2 boy1. So these are the four possible solution for the given problem, for the given constraint. Previously there was 6 different kinds of solution, but here now there are only 4 available solutions are there for it. Okay, so what are all the things that we have seen in this present session? Actually, we started with the prerequisites. Recursion and recurrence relations are 2 major prerequisites. Then I listed out what are all the algorithm paradigms that we are going to look forward, like backtracking, branch and bounds, greedy technique, dynamic programming, pattern matching, divide and conquer. So today we started out with the backtracking. So we said we started with backtracking is a brute force approach that is used to find 3 types of problem. Then we saw the list of 3 problems like decision problem, optimization problem, and enumeration problem. And also we took an example, and for that example what we did, we represented a state space tree. Then after representing the state space tree for that problem, then we added up a new constraint for which we introduced a bounding function to kill certain nodes of the tree. Okay, so now we have the final state space tree which is having all the possibilities of solutions. Okay, so this is going to be the procedure. First of all, after you write this state space tree, then for this state space tree you have to write a recursive formula, and you have to write implement this state space tree in a recursive procedure. That we are going to do it in the next lecture, because in the next lecture we are going to take a famous problem called as n-queen problem, and we are going to completely discuss it in and out. You might be already familiar with n-queen problem, but we are going to make it very organized. Few people might also be few people might also already know n-queen problem, but I have already given you a how to start a backtracking type. In the same manner we are going to see all the problems, like we are having n-queen problem. So after finishing n-queen problem, what we will do is we will see first of all like state space tree we will represent with bounding function, without bounding function. Then we will enter into the implementation. After doing it, we are going to enter into the next problem is going to be Knight's Tour problem. It is also a familiar problem, Knight's Tour. After finding Knight's Tour, we will be entering into rat in a maze problem. It is also a familiar problem, rat in a maze. Then subset sum problem. Okay, then we will also look into graph coloring problems. Okay, graph coloring problem also we are going to see. Okay, then after finishing graph coloring problem, m coloring graph problem, then we are going to then we are having Hamiltonian cycles. We will see Hamiltonian cycles using backtracking methodology. Then we have Sudoku solver. We will take a Sudoku board and we are going to write a algorithm which will automatically solve the any Sudoku which is given for you, any valid Sudoku which is given for you. Okay, so after finishing the Sudoku solver, then we have a there is a question called as prime numbers after prime p with some s. We'll get it clear, but there are nearly 8 to 10 problems that we are going to discuss on backtracking alone. All the 10 problems are going to be a little bit bigger one actually. Okay, so after finishing these problems, we have also a permutation problem, permutation of a given string also we are going to see here. Using backtracking we will be seeing that. Okay, so after finishing that we will enter into we have planned of entering into divide and conquer. Okay guys, right? So I think hope you got you could have got a clear idea of what we are going to do in the further classes. And also I have given you a clear understanding of backtracking. You also personally do a research on backtracking, find more things, share it to us. Okay, so I think you can just students together collaboratively, you can just start learning, which will help you everybody. Okay guys, so so backtracking is backtracking we will be continuing for 8 10 more days we will be continuing with backtracking itself. Okay, so backtracking we are going to, so like backtracking we will be concentrating on each and every paradigms very extensively, and we are going to see, we'll be taking it very deep into each and every algorithm paradigm. Okay guys, so thank you, this is it for this session. Hope we'll meet in the next lecture. Thank you.